What's up, guys? What's going on? We are back with another vlog. I haven't done one of these in a while. I had like various topics for a vlog. I recorded actually a couple of vlogs here and there, but it never felt right to actually. It never felt right to actually put those videos out. But but kind of wanted to bring this up because I just had a conversation with my brother regarding our generation and um, just kind of examining it for a minute. Um, it's really interesting, when you think about just our generation right now and where we're at. You know, um, it's it's kind of depressing, honestly, when you think about it. Because I said this to my brother. What exactly, as our generation, what do we have that is important, valuable, meaningful? What defining moment or event or whatever are we going to take over, pass down to the next generation? And or even, if anybody has kids, what are they going to bring up as a significance from our generation? There really isn't anything. I mean, there's trivial things, but there's nothing truly meaningful. We have TikTok, we have memes, we have Fortnite, we have just all this crap, but none of it's truly meaningful. Even in the political scene, when you really think about it. I mean, what do we have that we can talk about that was important? Because think about all the other generations. Some generations went through two world wars, Vietnam War, uh, the human rights movements, some people, certain communities, the black communities, Jim Crow, all these things, and they were detrimental. They are incredibly important, you know, because it shaped a lot of our culture and it shaped the society that we live in today. Up until the early 2000s, when gay rights were, a part of that equation and gay marriage became legal. What is it at this point that we as a generation, us as Gen Z, which is weird for me to say because I just do not have the spirit of a Gen Z at all. I do not. I'm, I am just, I detest the spirit of our generation a lot. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It just does not work for me. It just doesn't. Um, but when you put that all through that prism, when you look at all the things that have happened within our history as as humans, what is it about Gen Zs that are important? Like, what is it about our generation that's important? We are the most luxurious generation ever. When you really think about it, we have all the privilege that you can ask for. We have the most innovative of technology. We have connections beyond belief. I mean, we can talk to someone on the phone and they can be all the way in a different country. We can do this and that on all these social media platforms, things that people couldn't do 20, 30 years ago. If we're that privileged, if we are just bathing in that privilege, what is it that we are doing currently that it is valuable to the next generation? What, AI, artificial intelligence, which is honestly a scary thing. I've been seeing the results of that, and it's getting more and more real every day. And eventually, people are going to use those tools for very, very sadistic reasons. And it's going to become really, really frightening seeing what happens when people use those tools in those ways. And then social media is social media. It is what it is. It's just toxic. It's just, at this point, just nonsensical. my brother, who is just absorbed with this shit, he just told me about the 6-7 thing, which is just like, what the fuck, you know? It's just there really is nothing defining about the Gen Zs, and they pride themselves on it. Like, I think that that's something that they're proud of, and I'm not as someone who is a Gen Z. I'm not proud of that definition, that lack of definition. I'm not proud of it. I think it actually speaks more volumes to how delusional we are as a generation, and how lost we are, and how desperate we are for attention. You know, we're very we're attention whores. Like, when it comes to our generation, we pry, and I'm a victim of it too. I'm not saying I don't do this. You know, we all are just just clinging on to that attention. We want it so badly. The key difference, though, between someone like me and another person in my generation is that I'm not going to go out of my way to look for it. I'm not going to go on social media and do these weird trends and act a fool and do these really moronic things that don't have any rhyme or reason to it. You know, it speaks a lot to the mental illness that is also taking place. You know, like, a lot of people are not well. Like, if we're just being flat out honest, like, some people are just not well, you know, and they need help. But because of just the culture that we live in, they are accepted as quote unquote normal, even though really what they're doing or saying does not make any sense. It does not add up. And any of what they are doing in terms of displayment of, like, actions, like how they hold themselves, how they talk to people. I just saw a video with this whole 6-7 thing with my brother of a poor lady who was, like, talking on the news, and you have these people my age screaming at her. They're drunk, but they're acting just ridiculous, like, just absolutely ridiculous. And it's like, that's what we hold ourselves to. Like, that's what we can look back on as a generation. It's honestly embarrassing, you know. But at this point in my age, like, I'm 24, and I'm heading towards 25 here in a couple months. Um, it's just lately I've just been so I've just been I'm so numb to it at this point that I just laugh. Like, at this point, I just laugh at it, because when you become so desensitized to something, and that's a part of our generation also, unfortunately, is we're so desensitized because of how much information has become available to us. We are overly exposed to so many things, that being violence, events themselves, um, this and that. You can go on the internet, and if you want to, you can find literally anything. You can find literally anything if you want to. And that's the sad part about the internet, is that it is readily available to you. If you want to look up porn, you can. If you want to look up violence, you can. If you want to look up this and that, you can. You can look up the most heinous of things possible online, and I'm pretty sure you can find it. So, and that's the a part of the generational distance, between other generations and ours, is that we're just so desensitized. But my form of being desensitized stems from just our generation, just the abundance of stupidity that I get exposed to within our generation. I'm just over it. It's just amusing, really, because and that's probably what they want to hear at the end of the day. They want to be heard that that is funny, or that this and that is, humorous, or, oh, that's entertaining. I'll tell you it is, but it's not for the reasons that you think. It's not because I look at that and I think, wow, that dude really took some time to craft that joke, or wow, that was pretty smart or pretty funny. No, I just look at you and say, you're stupid, and what you're doing is stupid, and in that, it's funny, you know? But that's not because I think of you as a valuable person. I look at you and I go, that is the kind of person that I do not want to be around. That's what I think. And probably a lot of people think that way, if when they look at stuff like that. They don't look at you as mature. They look at you as a child. That you're acting like a 13, 14-year-old kid, not who you were supposed to be, like a 22, 23-year-old. Like, no. Like, it's just become a weird epidemic of mentalities just flourishing, and it's only going to get worse. I mean, we're not. It's been cultivated. It's now a part of it. It's like it's not going to go away. You look at the upcoming generation. It's like, yeah, the people there are exactly the same. They are exactly the same. They're not anything different. They're gonna take on, whatever the older crowd is doing, which is my crowd. People in their 20s and stuff like that. They have phones, so they're gonna be exposed to stuff like that regardless. So, people would want things to change. I would want people to, like, I remember growing up, it was not like this. It was a lot more tame. It was a lot more respectful. I mean, sure, you had the internet still, and yes, the internet had very, very toxic things out there and very heinous things out there. But you had to, like, dig. You had to dig for it, at least from my point of view, you know. And I had a social media. I mean, I have an Instagram and stuff like that. And yes, I would post on there, but I would never seek out things like people are seeking out right now. I wouldn't be looking for trends and stuff like that. I would be literally just doing my own thing. I did it for attention, obviously, but and I don't use Instagram much anymore, just purely because of that. But it's just there's just so much that is now readily available that just wasn't available when I was growing up, and because of that, people were a lot more respectful, and people were a lot more understandable when it came to things happening around them. They weren't looking to just laugh, They didn't look at it as something funny, you know. You have people that laugh at people's deaths now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna get political, but it's like you guys may know what I'm referring to when I'm saying that there was a lot of people that were laughing about a particular person's death. A lot of those people were around my age. And it's like, what the hell is going on? You know? How is it that we're at this point? You know? And I don't want to hear that, well, every generation acts a certain way, and in some ways we're similar because of it. No. No. Yes, you have your bad apples in every generation. Not every generation is perfect, obviously. But to sit there and suggest that the spirit of today is the same as it was yesterday, you're no. No. There's a different sense of maturity that has been carried over from the previous generations that just does not exist today. And it's more fucked up because of just how privileged people are today. How privileged we are today. And the fact that we use these tools or don't even use them at all, and the results are these mentalities. That to me is very telling, and it just speaks more to the stupidity that is within our generation and the laziness, to be frank. I know that people don't want to hear that, but it's also very, very true. We're incredibly lazy, you know, and I'm a part of that equation. I'm not saying I'm not. Like, people will say, oh, well, a lot of these other generations are just talking down on us. They're saying that we're lazy and stuff like that. But yet, at the same time, I will go online. I will see a video of somebody who is around the same age as me, quit their 9 to 5 job, or, just their regular job. And they live in LA, by the way. And they decide to go become a social media influencer simply because they're looking for their inner peace. Really? Really? It's just, the priorities are fucked. You know what I'm saying? I know that, well, isn't inner peace a good, of course. I mean, stuff like that is important, but when the sacrifice has to be income, right? When it has to come from a source of income that is valuable to you, and you don't just trade in one job for the other for something that will give you that amount of money, for you to just go do something that is purely of your own accord, that is way less fulfilling and more of attention seeking. Are you really looking for inner peace at that point? I don't think so. I think that you're just deciding to mask that insecurity within another form of expression. Hence why you're a social media influencer. But my point is that people are just more delusional nowadays, I think. And I'm not saying that I don't fall in that equation sometimes. I will sometimes dip into those areas myself. I can be an attention whore myself. Not going to say that I'm not. But it's just really, really strange what our generation is becoming and what it just frankly is right now. I wish that I could say that there is something that we can look back on and say that's something that we did. But the more that our generation is, the less so I want to talk about it. And the less that I would want to bring it up to my kids if I ever had kids in the future. I would never want to talk about TikTok and all these other things because I feel like I'm more or less protecting them than giving them insight. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird world that we live in today. And it might be valid to laugh, maybe. But in the case of why I'm choosing to laugh, it's different from what the other person is laughing at. I'm not laughing at someone who died. I'm not laughing at fucked up things, violence and stuff like that. That's not what makes me happy. That's not what makes me laugh. What makes me laugh is stupid shit, if I'm being honest, because I understand what is right from wrong. I have my principles, which is another thing that a lot of people don't have nowadays. They don't have principles. They just do things. I remember, as I said this in a vlog one time, I remember I went to a party a couple of years ago and I talked to someone and I had said point blank that I have morals. That was something that I had said. And the person laughed. And they're the same age as me. And it's like, it was very, very telling to me at that point when someone can laugh at something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if that's what's funny to you, it makes me wonder what it is you have as value or what you deem to be valuable. And the truth is that a lot of people don't see value in a lot of things because they're overly exposed. They don't have a sense of authority. They don't have a sense of value. They just do things because it's just an instant gratification. They just want it because it's here and now and not because of what it can become. Children. It's ultimately that of a child's mentality. And it's rather sad seeing how it still exists within the space of 20-year-old people, 20-year-olds. It's just sad. But let me know. I'm just curious for anybody who, if anyone cares to check this channel out. I mean, I don't know if you guys are around my age and stuff like that, but let me know. Let me know if you guys feel the same way. I'm not saying our generation sucks. I'm just saying that our generation is very flawed. And I know that I've met people who are around my age who are incredibly intelligent, people who are very, who have, just a good frame of mind. They're not a lot of these other people that you see online. There are good people in this generation. There absolutely is, and there's people who have a great sense of perspective. They're intelligent. They have wisdom. There are people who are in this generation that are really, really just something. You know what I'm saying? Or people who I would love to be around all the time, But the majority of these people, man, it's just like, what the hell is happening? Like, what is going on? But let me know. You guys think I'm full of shit? Or do you guys have a different opinion? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And yeah, so that's going to be it for me. I'm going to go out into my house now and relax. But this life right now, this generation as it is, it's just weird. It's weird and it's crazy. I can't say it's really normal though. And I know people like to bend that term nowadays. What is normal? I mean, if that is the case, if normalcy does not exist, all that is left then is the crazy. And is that appropriate or is that not? And I'll leave it on that for you guys to decide.